Good morning to all my friends and welcome to the .NET Plain and Simple channel. Today in this video we are going to see what is the difference between an MVC Razor application and a Blazor application. Now these are two terms which you might have heard a lot these days, and in today's video, I will try to explain the difference between these two type of applications. Razor, as we all know, is a very well-known Microsoft framework for building MVC applications, and Blazor is something relatively new. So let us begin by creating an application. I will be using Visual Studio 2019 for this video. And I'm using the community edition, which is free to download and use. So when we start this application, we will click on create a new project. And from here, we will select ASP.NET Core Web Application with C# as the language and click next. Here we will name the application. We can name it Web Application MVC and just add the solution word at the end, just to indicate that this is an MVC solution. We then click on create and we get these templates, which includes the framework. I'll be using the latest .NET Core 3.1, and here we will select a web application model view controller, leave everything as the default and click create. This will then start building our MVC application. As it is clear from the name, this is a model view controller application in which Razor is used as the view engine, and the controllers are used for redirecting our requests to these different pages. So if we look here in the application, we can see under controllers we have a home controller. If we open this controller, we will see we have a number of actions which are redirecting to different views. And if we open the views folder, we can see these different views. We will just take a look at the main view, which is basically just a sort of a welcome sign, and the privacy view. Now here, if we run this application, as we can see here, it would run on IIS Express. So it's currently building the application. After that, it would be running it. So we are just waiting for this application to build, which it has successfully been built and is in the process of running the application. So how an MVC application works is basically that a request is sent to the controller, which then redirects it to the respective action. And from the action, we have the associated view, which then shows up in the browser. So the process is currently going on. And here we can see that it is loading the page, and in a few seconds we should see the page showing up. So there we go, we can see the first page, and if we click on the privacy link, you can see here it's redirected to the privacy action, and we see the privacy page. If we view source here, we can see that everything is returned in pure HTML. So what actually happens behind the scenes here is that the whole content is resolved on the server and then pushed down to the client. So basically the whole process of putting together the content is done on the server. So we will now stop this particular application and come back. And now let us take a look at uh, Blazor application, which is slightly different. So I'm going to start another instance of Visual Studio. And here we will create a Blazor application. Now the difference between a Blazor application and a Razor application is that unlike a Razor application where everything is done on the server and then the HTML is pushed down to the client, in a Blazor application here, you can see I've selected it and I'll just click next and I'll just put in the solution here and create it. So while it's being created, I'll quickly explain the difference between the two. I'll select the WebAssembly app and click create. So the basic difference between the two is that in a Blazor app, the processing is done in WebAssemblies on the client side. So basically everything is done on the client side except the data which is pulled in from the server. So we can compare a Blazor app to an Angular or React or one of the JavaScript client-side frameworks in which everything is done on the client side, but only the data request is made from the server side. Now, what is the advantage of this? The main advantage is, unlike Angular or React, you don't have to work with JavaScript or learn some new framework like TypeScript. Everything is done in C#. So if we open the pages here, let's take a look at the main page. Here you can see the extension is Razor as opposed to the extension in the MVC application, which was CSHTML. So we can see here that's a different extension which shows that these are components as opposed to views. So here you can see, let's open the other page, fetch data. And here you can see the code is written in the section marked with code, and everything is done on the client side and it's done using C#. And if we run this application, and so in this case we don't need to get into TypeScript or JavaScript. We can build our client side application using the current knowledge of C# that we know. Now this is of course a WebAssembly application. There is another server side application as well. So I'm just going to open this up and wait for the screen to show up. So here you can see it's loading the component. Of course it uses a similar routing system like the MVC application. And there we go. If we go to fetch data, we can see the data is coming, which is very similar to what is being used here. At HTTP client is being injected, and we are making a call to this particular location, returning some JSON data and displaying it on the screen. So, coming back to our page, if we go to the page and we view the page source, here you can see everything is being done in this WebAssembly. So that is the basic difference, that the whole processing is done on the client as opposed to the server, and only a call is made to the server to extract the data. So very similar to Angular and React. So I hope this gives you a brief understanding of what is the basic difference between an Angular application and a Blazor and a React. So Blazor and React are very similar, and Angular applications are very similar, and all using components done on the client side, whereas MVC Razor application is done entirely on the server side, and just the output is then pushed to the client. So thank you so much. Please give me your feedback. It's my first video for this channel, and if you like it, please do subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for notifications when new videos would be posted. Thank you so much. Have a great day.